What is happening, everybody? Ryan here, Mastiff's MMA show. A little step outside the normal arm wrestling stuff you'd see on this channel. And we're throwing together a show today at the last second because my co host had some other commitments come up and we're not going to be able to do our live. But we'll jump on here and talk about whatever comes to mind in the world of combat sports outside of arm wrestling, of course. We got to thank our sponsors, and the main one being that we are fueled by Supplement King Porters of the Prairie. So make sure you check them out. Also, working on some other things in the supplement world, but all through Supplement King. And I'm hoping to have a conversation with a couple of those brands that I really latched onto in the near future. Listen, guys, it has been a weird week in arm wrestling and a weird week in combat sports. The headline coming out of last weekend has kind of been dominated by Tyson Fury. You know, he wins his fight, and Francis gets into the cage with him, and the thing that's happening is Francis is he is without a UFC contract. He is the UFC heavyweight champion. Tyson Fury, of course, being the king of the boxing world at the moment, and possibly the greatest boxer of all times. Talking about retirement, but he's talking about doing that one gigantic fight with Francis Ngannou. So Francis gets in there. He wants that fight. He wants to make that fight happen. He'll even do it at the expense of the UFC. I am of the opinion, and so are some others in this realm, that UFC should be involved in some capacity, because there is no better hype machine and no better promotional vehicle than the UFC. They do it better than anybody. However, there's been talk about making this some kind of weird freak show thing that is with small gloves, but it's a boxing match. I am hoping they just stick to a traditional boxing match, and they do it that way. And Francis wins, does well, doesn't win, gets starched. Hopefully the UFC's on board, gets out of the system. Francis gets his $20 million in his bank account, and they can move on and come back to the UFC where he belongs, because waiting in the wings is going to be the winner of Stipe and John Jones. John Jones moving up to heavyweight, of course. Stipe and him have been not 100% confirmed, but talked about for September, which is awesome. It's great. I'd like to know what you guys think about some of the freak show stuff that's been going on. I mean, the Paul brothers, of course, have always been dipping their toe in this boxing world and fighting a bunch of washed up MMA guys. But the one that's caught my attention recently is Jake Paul seems to be going hard at Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping has not been retired that long. He is not past his prime. He does have one eye, which makes getting him licensed a challenge. But he seems to be open to the boxing match, and there is a governing body that has put it out there that they will sanction that fight. It will be a great payday for Bisping. Jake Paul's toughest challenge. Michael Bisping is an amazing stand-up fighter. He was a Muay Thai fighter before he was in mixed martial arts. For next, for Jake Paul, if that's the chunk that you're biting off, we'll have another great test for Jake Paul, because Michael Bisping is tough. He can fight, and he ain't going away. On the flip side, we're now talking about these crossover fights again. We have potentially Canelo Alvarez back and forth with Kamaru Usman, which is another intriguing fight. Canelo is an amazing boxer. I don't know what to say about the whole thing, but it's something that could happen. But let's talk about what's upcoming. We have Bellator, not this weekend, but let's talk about it, because the heavyweight fight that's happening at Bellator is for the heavyweight championship, and we got Ryan Bader versus Czech Congo. The battle of the guys that left the UFC for a different venue, and this is the second time they've fought. I'm looking forward to it. Congo, his chin has been suspect. He's not getting any younger. Bader hits like a hits a ton, man. He hits hard, but he's taken some losses, and these aren't world beaters that have been beating him. From there, you got Yoel Romero, another guy that's way up there, and he's fighting Melvin Manhoff. That's a crazy fight. So, yeah, check out Bellator. But that's not until Friday next week. That being said, we do have UFC this weekend. And a couple of the fights on the UFC card we'll talk about. The one I'm kind of curious about is Andre Arlovski is still doing the damn thing. He's still fighting. And he's been on a bit of a streak lately. He's back in the win columns. Do we ever see Andre Arlovski getting the heavyweight title back? No. But he is slamming that gate shut. He is the gatekeeper, and he's slamming it shut on these guys that are coming up. And he's fighting Jake Collier, who I don't know a damn thing about. He's 13-6. So his record's not stellar. He looks a little bit soft, but he's a good opponent. I think you'll see Arlovski shine once again in this one. And of course, the main event on there, we got Marlon Chidover versus Rob Font, which is an exciting fight, and it should all be free. Check it out Saturday night. I'm going to go with Chido on this one. Chido is going to win the fight, and man, we got a ton of other things coming up. Now, hopefully, my co-host gets his shit together, and we can finally line up for one of these shows in the near future, because it is the next logical step in the evolution of Mastiff's MMA show. Because right now we've done a few of them, picking up a little bit of steam. Could be a whole lot better if we had someone, if we had some additional voices on this channel or on this show. So hopefully that comes to fruition. The clip show starts next week. So we got some extra stuff coming to the channel, and I would really appreciate it, you guys, if you go over to RyanSB.com, and on that page where it says YouTube, click there. That is my real estate YouTube channel. Please take some time, throw a sub in there, hit a like on a couple of the videos. That is going to be a pet project of mine with a podcast related to real estate starting up over there. So I appreciate the support as usual, you guys, and thanks for watching the show today. And don't forget to check out the Can-Am Connection with myself and Jody Williams this Monday. We're going to have lots to talk about, as we always do, and we have a special guest coming on that show on Monday. So can't wait to see that. Talk to you guys very soon.